Okay, welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And two things that really strike out for me, and I believe you as well, is the Bolton book. There's been 5, 6 who I've lost count, so-called bombshell revelation books, and they all fall flat. This, I thought, was going to do some damage, but didn't, did it?
No, it hasn't done any damage so far. And you would think that the accusations in the book would resonate with Democrats. And in actuality, it ended up backfiring on John Bolton because the Democrats came out swinging against him, saying, if all of this is true, why didn't you testify under oath? And the fact that he didn't testify under oath has put all of his claims in doubt.
Yes, and also the great revelations. There's really, I don't think he really laid a huge glove, or the glove I thought he was going to lay on him, on Trump. And I actually think that it all goes into the category of the swamp, entrenched state, whatever you want to call it. Just not, and Trump has so many faults, I'm not saying, and he's getting worse, but isn't it about the intelligentsia rebelling against someone that's an outsider and throwing a lot of things into question, which I kind of, not all of them, but a lot of them I agree with. Why are we paying for NATO?
I think a lot of it is that. Some of it, while related to that, isn't so much the intelligentsia rebelling, but the fact that Trump is not a politician. And because he's not a politician, he doesn't craft every word. So he makes offhand comments, and the entrenched politicians go, oh my God, how could you say that?
I would agree. That's a very, very well done, Dr. Lopkin, because there's Washington speak. He doesn't fit into that category. It's like, I can't really draw an amazingly great analogy, but if you were a dentist and then you're new to the industry, there's a certain lingo, and if you don't have it, people are going to question your ability to be a dentist. Make sense?
Right. I mean, the perfect example is the accusation that John Bolton had about him asking the Chinese government for help in the 2020 election. And as Bolton explains it, basically what happened was Trump was trying to get the Chinese government to buy more soybeans and buy more agricultural products.
And when has that not happened?
Right. And he made the offhand comment that doing this, that makes him a shoo-in in 2020. Well, that's not the same as asking the Chinese government for help.
No, it's totally different.
Yeah, it happens to be that if the Chinese government does buy more soybeans, more agricultural products, that's going to be very beneficial for Trump's base. So yes, it's going to benefit Trump, but it's very different from asking a foreign government for help.
There's no question about it. And the next area that I'd like to touch upon is the corona spikes. Your read, Dr. Lopkin.
But I think, first of all, we have to rephrase that, because we haven't seen corona spikes. We've seen rises in areas where they're reopening, but
yes,
spikes are much more severe than what we're seeing. It's making a lot of people nervous.
The stock market as well.
Well, the stock market has been nervous all along. It's been going up and down, and I mean the volatility.
Yeah, but I mean today they say that's the direct result of Fauci's testimony.
Yeah, but we also have to remember that for the past, I would say, at least 8 years, if not longer, the stock market has been completely divorced from the economy.
Well said, yes.
You know, the results in the stock market have nothing to do with what Main Street economy is doing.
And actually, that's been going on for a lot longer than that, going even back to the Obama administration. The stock market was great under his administration. The economy sucked.
Yeah, well, as I said, at least 8 years. So that takes us, midway into the Obama administration.
Yep, absolutely. Yes, well said. So you think it's just more of an aberration, more that because people are opening up, it's not something to be alarmed about.
I don't think it's something to be alarmed about. I think you're seeing several things happen. One, you're seeing an increase in testing. So the more we test, the more cases we're going to find. That's going to cause it to go up. That is absolutely neutral. The numbers due to testing are not bad. It just means we're more aware of what's going on. The reopening is where you're seeing a more of a spread that we have to be careful of. And the basic problem is you're seeing people cramming into bars, people going to the beach, not observing social distancing, not wearing masks.
Yes, I agree with that, and I think it's human nature beyond any government. I'm not excusing the governors, but people, you can only do something for so long. You can't just isolate for, the indefinite period of your life. People eventually calculate that I'm going to take the risk.
Absolutely. I mean, on the Carnivore Radio live podcast, we had interviewed a psychologist from UConn, and he was very clear about the fact that the psychological impact of being isolated has been huge and it's been detrimental. So now that people have the opportunity to go out and be with people, they're overcompensating and they're not following social distancing guidelines. And it is, quite frankly, I mean, I don't blame any of the governors. I don't even blame the people. This is a basic human psychological need.
That's my initial point. It absolutely is. We do have a really interesting live Carnivore Radio coming up on Friday. We're going to have Ken Grombach, a noteworthy demographer, author of several books. And I think Dr. Lopkin, he might shed some light on. He's going to touch on the riots, the unrest, and also the demographic implications of the pandemic. Should be interesting, and callers can call in on that, can't they?
Yes, they can. And you can listen live at blogtalkradio.com/carnivore radio. We'll give you the phone number as you listen live, so you can be part of the conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Lopkin. Thank you for our listeners. And again, we'll be back on Friday, 4 o'clock.
See you then.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.